Sure. So I've been keeping myself a little bit busy with local campaigns. We've got two really good congressional candidates right in my area. I'm like right on the border between the two of them. And Justin Paglino was just in a debate with Rosa DeLauro a couple days ago. He did excellently. So it's really makes us proud to have good, strong Green Party candidates who are running locally. That's what we're focusing on now. We also have Cass Martineau in the second district against two Sub Joe, who's a big for nuclear submarines. But in terms of the question you're talking about, so I've got my foot in the really firmly in the Green Party, but I've been a Bernie supporter before. I've been an Occupy. I've been in the Democratic Party before. I understand the question. I think I'd like to see the question like, how is the movement going to develop, and can the movement go ahead without a figurehead? Because a figurehead is, only as good as one person, and it really needs to be us, not me, right? Or whatever Bernie was saying there. But it's still, unfortunately, our culture still comes down to a figurehead. So at the moment, we're not, having a mass organization type of setup where, like in Occupy, where you have general assembly meetings. Maybe we need to get to something like that. Maybe there needs to be organizing at local levels that can form a strong bond for a national organization around a leader. I think the People's Party is trying to do that right now.
That
I
is a
think the
major
Green Party
international answer. Yeah,
right now.
that is
I
a
think the
major
Green Party,
international answer. Yeah, I love that. But
yeah.
okay, I'm just wondering.
But
Yeah,
in
who do
terms
you
of
think will end
figureheads,
up getting it? Yeah, who do
I
you
would
think
say
will end
Nina Turner. I would go with Nina Turner if I had to pick one of all those people. In the past,
up?
Jesse Ventura had stadiums filled. Ralph Nader had stadiums filled, and Bernie had the most stadiums filled. But I think Nina Turner could do a pretty good job, and it looks like the People's Party are going with her. I still think the Green Party has still a much stronger infrastructure and on the ground presence through most states. So it could be either way. And I don't think we need to be fighting each other. That's the main thing. I don't want to see intergroup. In fact, I would like to see here's my thing. I would like to see the Green People's Party for Socialism and Liberation. Just merge all the groups. Maybe throw some other groups in there too. Green People's Party for Socialism and Liberation and Libertarianism. Just it's because it's not left or right. It's top and bottom, and we need to have
That's
unity.
exactly what I'm working on. I actually invited, right? Yeah, all the groups, libertarians. Yeah, I invited some people from the Green Party to come to the bylaws convention of MPP and to get involved and to form a council. So I'm with you, and I'm still MPP. I'm not against any of the groups. I got love for all of them. Yeah, I still consider my MPP. I'm registered as Green. Got love for all of y'all. You know what I mean? I got hate for no one. Yeah. All right. So that's so pro answer. Oh my God. But when you're always pressing the shit out of me. Yeah. I love it, man. I can't. That's such a pro answer, man. You can't be a noob and come up with an answer like that. That's for real, yeah. I know you gotta go soon. Is there anything else you want to say, Owen? I want you guys to subscribe to my man's channel. I gotta do, and I guarantee right now, if you guys are phone banking, I will guarantee 10 hours for the candidates that you recommend, Owen, and I recommend everybody else who's watching to also do that. Owen's a good guy. I will guarantee my time for his organizations, no question, no doubt. Yeah, you guys need phone
Wow.
bankers.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing phone banking right now. We're doing like Facebook ads, we're doing postcards, and we're doing signs.
I
But
guarantee
yeah, we
10
haven't
hours of
organized.
work for your organization, making videos, graphics, you know what I mean? Whatever you want,
Yes,
I got your
that
back,
stuff is
Owen.
good.
I got your
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Straight up, okay? All right.
Yep, yep. All right, cool.
Okay, anything
Yeah.
else, Hush?
So
How can
yeah.
people follow you? Yo, honestly, you should follow this guy. This guy's a real G in the game. Owen, what's
Oh,
up?
well, I mean, the best way is Shoreline Green Party on Facebook. We also do Twitter. It's not as active. Facebook is very active. Shoreline Green Party, and the Green Party of Connecticut as well. We've got a meeting coming up this week. We've got a lot to plan. I think, at this point, our organization, the Connecticut Green Party, we're one of the strongest Green Parties in the country, actually.
One more
So,
thing, yeah. If
pat
you're
ourselves on the back.
if
But
you're in the
we're
Green
looking at
Party,
reorganizing and spreading out to branch out and build in places where we haven't built before, like Waterbury or Bridgeport or other urban areas of Connecticut that need representation in the political system. So yeah,
if you are
I
in
just say that.
Connecticut, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Then take the
Absolutely.
chance and vote for the Green Party to get them to the 5%. Yeah,
Oh
everybody
yeah.
watching this, it's a real
Oh,
freaking urgent, yeah? Working Family
thank you.
Party too, but Green Party, please do it. Do it. Yeah, I'm
Green.
registered for Green. Do it. Yeah.
And go Green Party for the lower down on the ticket, as well as for Howie Hawkins and Angela Walker, because that alone will help us to retain ballot lines, and that alone will help us to get potentially federal matching funds if we hit 5% nationally.
I respect
It's
all
a
the
stretch
paths.
target, but yeah,
I
huh?
respect. I respect all the paths. I will
Yep.
take all the paths to victory. Yeah. I know that. I know you are. I know our end goals are the same, and I will
Yeah.
walk with you. Yeah. Right. We don't have
Here's
to do things exactly the same. We can work as a coalition. Yeah. What up?
here's my previous
I know
hero.
Jill tonight.
Maybe once again. Yeah, I was just watching some videos of her. She is amazing.
Jill,
She is
come back.
she was
Jill, come
amazing.
back. God damn it, Jill, come back. Where are you at? Stop. Whatever you're doing, come back. Okay.
Yeah.
I know that nothing
Yeah.
with you. We need you. What
But
the hell? Yeah.
yeah, I will come check back and listen to what you guys say further, because I'm interested in your thoughts on other people like Tulsi and other leaders of the party, potentially Jesse Ventura. But a lot of them are kind of taking themselves out of the picture, so I'm not sure where they're going.
We'll talk about. I can't. Yeah. I don't want to like short these other people, but I know you got to go soon.
Yeah.
I want to drag
Okay.
So wait, Tulsi's got the pack, right? Wait, hold on. If you have wait, it's already 6 minutes in. Yeah. Wait. She started,
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Yeah. Look, you got to go. You got to go. Enjoy the debate or whatever's going on.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
God bless,
Good
brother.
hearing from you.
Thank
Yeah.
you
Take
so
care.
much. Yeah, that's Owen
All
Charles.
right.
Hey, what's up? That's a real
Yep.
G in the game. I approve 100%. I'm endorsing this man. Okay. Now, okay. Yeah, we're gonna talk about my man Roguski, also man I endorse. Also.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJ L7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
The truth of these
We are
words
on all
is
the major
beyond doubt.
platforms. That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute and Daily Motion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? Or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get out with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you can hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos, make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot, and looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now!
And what it's done is it's sprinkled all around the country, and everybody's kind of been sort of embedded with the shards. And so you have all these sort of local people finding these things on the ground, almost like arrowheads, and then picking them up off the ground and going with it. And so what we're starting to see, at least what I'm starting to see here in Los Angeles, and as I notice in other parts of the country, are these sort of really local races taking up Bernie's platform and trying to implement it and trying to run on a local level. We've got a candidate here running for our council district 4 is this woman, Nithya Rahman. Nithya is a candidate. Yeah, and Nithya is a candidate that is just one of those once in a lifetime candidates, just like Tulsi, that just comes around, says it, it just plays it as it lays, and just, puts like actual evidence-based information in front of people. No BS, no negative campaigns, just as like, sending things. And the thing is that the guy who's there now, David Ryu, the first Korean American to be on the council, and the Koreans have a lot of power now and are really flexing their muscles in in the community. Koreatown is huge; it's expanding, but this guy, got elected because people wanted change. Ran on kind of to cleaning up homelessness and all that, and in my district, homelessness has increased by 50% 2 years in a row. And so it's kind of like, all right, dude, we voted for you because we want to change. We thought you were gonna, do something, but instead he just became kind of like, like a cronyist, and just kind of like fell in line with all of like the hacks. Unfortunately. So Nithya is like a real breath of fresh air. And people are upset because some people feel that Ryu is a progressive, which is a laugh. It's such a laugh, But the thing is that he's more progressive than the rest of the board, or maybe other members of the board. But the thing is, the left has been truncated. What we think of as left is actually a little bit center right. We have no left anywhere. And so she's like a true progressive that's really running with real ideas and a real background. And so I'm really pushing her campaign also to get rid of Jackie Lacey, our DA. That's also a really tough campaign, because who's running against her was the former DA of San Francisco, George Gascon. And so everybody keeps pointing to her, Gascon, LA is going to turn into San Francisco. Look how horrible San Francisco is. But the problem is, again, Gascon is really a center-right candidate. He's a centrist who didn't go far enough, and that's the reason why they elected someone like Chesa as DA in San Francisco. So what I'm thinking, something very interesting happened, that LA politics basically is the foreshadowing of national politics. And basically what happened was that we had a DA, Bill Garcetti, who was well known because of a trial that happened here that was world renowned, and that was the O.J. Simpson trial. When they lost the O.J. Simpson trial, it was basically, open season on Black people. And so who got elected? Garcetti lost his election and lost it to a man, Steve Cooley, who was the most rancid, oh my God, this guy is just the most horrible DA LA has basically ever seen. And what Jackie Lacey is his hand-picked successor. Jackie Lacey is the first Black female DA, I think, ever, really. But because Kamala Harris, I think, was the first in Tennessee. But she was the first Black DA in LA. But what's going on is that national figures are interfering with this race and trying to plug in. They try to put in another person in the race to try to knock Gascon out. And my gut is the reason why they're trying to do that is because there's some bad blood between Gascon, because he was in San Francisco, and Pelosi. And I believe that that's the reason why they started interjecting all these things into the race. You know, you would be really surprised. Pelosi came in and endorsed Ryu instead of Nithya Rahman, this woman that I'm telling you about. When the hell has a national figure come in to a city council race ever? That is crazy. So it's like weird shit is happening, and they know that if we flip Los Angeles, it flips the entire country, and all these neoliberals basically don't want that to happen. They know if a fire starts here, it goes across the U.S.
Think about it, right? It's a sign that the control is slipping. Yeah,
it is. You're right. You're right.
Another thing that we want to understand here, I really like one of the ideas that you had about the shattering right there, right? Yeah. As the movement shatters, there's two different narratives that are going to evolve. Yeah. Well, maybe more than two, right? But there's going to be two major narratives. One narrative is that it's over. It's shattered. It's over. That's the mainstream narrative, okay? And people are going to suck it up like suckers, okay? But the other narrative that is true, okay, is the fact that this shattering effect, right, has gone into new organizations that never would have like really contemplated or accepted these ideas before, and brought new people in contact with each other. Let's say, for example, like Yang Gang, right? Yeah, Yang Gang has a right wing, right? They have Trumpers for Yang, right? Yeah, right. I'm in touch with some of these people. Yeah. Also, right. Let's take a look at like what was that other thing? That Articles for Unity, right? Yeah. I'm in contact with those people, right? Wolfpack has just started to reactivate, right? Yeah. I'm in touch with you guys. You guys are freaking awesome. Yeah. The shards have a potential to magnify it, like a disease, right? Yeah, to just overwhelm and infest. And we can see already that things are on the breaking point because they know they went too far with this giving the money to the rich people and the income disparity. Even Ice Cube saying it, right? Yeah, even Puff Daddy saying it, right? The issue is not even before the
Hey, Kanye, have you seen Kanye's platform? Kanye's platform is great. His platform is great.
Yeah. Yo, I got a picture of your chest, Lisa. I got a picture of your chest right there for some reason.
That's fine.
That's okay. All right. Yeah, that's a cool sweater. It looks super comfortable. So,
Good job.
From you, man.
All right, I'll try to stay on point. The question, correct me if I'm repeating it or restating it incorrectly. Who's the rightful successor, leader of the Bernie movement? Well, Bernie's still around. Okay, so as long as Bernie's still around, it's a premature question. Okay, all right. Now that being said, looking forward into the future, who's the likely successor? Well, it really should have been the Green Party 4 years ago. Bernie should have realized that his, if somebody can point out, Owen isn't here anymore.
God damn, bro, that's so pro. I love that.
If you can wedge a piece of paper between Bernie's platform and the Green Party's platform, okay. Now I'm not saying that I'm 100% on board either platform. I'm just saying I've looked at this and I've looked at that, and what in the hell's the difference?
Yeah.
I mean, why didn't that, I don't know because I wasn't privy to the conversation, but in 2016, the word appeared to be that Bernie could have had that nomination. Jill Stein would have stepped, whatever. I don't know because I wasn't there.
She said so. She
Yeah.
said she said so.
Right. And so, there's, I'll go on to talk about some of the other groups that you mentioned. I'm relatively knowledgeable about quote unquote People's Party. They pissed off labor unions, and labor is doing their own thing. Okay, so the People's Party doesn't really include labor, organized labor. It's a bunch of issues that come from Bernie's, camp. If you can put a piece of paper between, their ideas and the Green Party platform, you take Bernie, Our Revolution, the People's Party, the Green Party. That's all the same thing, splintered. I mean, so whether it's anybody from the Green Party or Nina Turner or whomever, I would imagine that the People's Party, the people in the People's Party, would probably love to have AOC because they want a hero to follow. Okay. None of this is anything that I'm standing behind. I'm just analyzing because you asked the question. That set of groups that I mentioned, Green Party, Our Revolution, People's Party, Labor, Bernie, AOC, and probably many others, they got to get together because otherwise, they're separate. Hold on. My phone just turned on. Now, that's not where I am. You guys know where I am. I'm coming from Tulsi town, okay? I have no idea what Tulsi's plans are. I'm not about hero worship. I'm about the message, okay? And all of the groups that I just mentioned are incredibly, on a personal level, not to name any names, but on a personal level and on an organizational level, there's not an ounce of liberty in any of them. They are so authoritarian. They want to tell everybody because they know better and they're going to tell you what you got to do. And if you don't listen to what they have to say, then you are their sworn enemy and they will do everything they can to destroy you. And that scares me. Okay. Now, Tulsi brought in a diverse crowd. Okay. I don't know what she's doing. She's in Hawaii. She's, whatever. I'm focused on one of the things that both of you guys, that Lisa said and Owen said something similar. Everything is splintered, and I'm focused on organizing from the ground up without a savior. I don't have a Bernie Sanders, Jill Stein, Tulsi Gabbard, AOC, somebody else I missed. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, complex of somebody's going to, Bernie's right. It's not him, it's us.
Yeah, and I like that so much because honestly, I feel like that's a lot of the new cats, right? Like that's one of the differences that you see. The older cats are a lot more skeptical. Yeah, they've seen it not work out, and they're a lot less likely to play hero worship. Yeah, because they've seen like how it works out. Yeah, it has a way of developed. And actually, just before we started today's show, right? You said the problem is that all these groups don't want to work together because each leadership wants to have its own little fiefdom. That's damn true. That's damn true. Yeah, that's damn right. Yeah.
So one of the and I definitely want to talk to Owen at some point. He mentioned Occupy. Occupy, and the way he was talking about it was, local organization, okay, where we don't need to have some top-down party tell people, Lisa, what in the hell is the Speaker of the House doing talking about what
Can
should
you
happen?
believe that? Can you believe that?
Right.
What the hell is the Speaker of the House doing in a city council race?
Crazy.
That is
and so
that's how scary Nithya must be to them. That she would actually, and not that she would actually sort of, infest, the LA City Council with her, her damn, progressive ideas. What if it takes hold? Oh my goodness.
Well, I gotta tell you, endorsements can work backwards, okay? Because I had my sample ballot, and my girlfriend and I both, we got it. We filled it out early. We talked about it all, did some more reading onto some of the stuff, and then we started getting all this stuff in the mail, and I'm like, oh, this person supports that. I better go and make sure that, do I really want to support that? Because they're, the endorsements worked backwards on me. Somebody said, I'm getting all this stuff in the mail. All the money is saying yes on this and no on that. When it all came in the mail, I'm like, oh shit, they're in agreement with me. Fuck, I better look more closely at this. I want to make sure I'm in agreement. Some things I looked at, and it's like a Pelosi endorsement would almost, by default, make me vote against the person. So thank you.
That's actually great because Pelosi, right? You can see with the other, what was that? I forgot the name of that guy who was running Massachusetts or whatever, yeah? Right, but we can, right, he was running against some kind of like establishment dude, right, who was like came from some famous family, yeah, and she endorsed, right, the non-incumbent, remember that? Yeah? She endorsed the non-incumbent. You know what, don't worry about that. I want to actually wrench us back onto the topic, yeah?
So let me finish up. Let me finish up, Ed, if I can.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
So my focus is a harder job than naming a successor to lead the organization or the movement. I'm focused on waking people the fuck up, because until people wake the fuck up, they'll fall for this or the next savior, okay? And it's never going to be the savior, even if they were perfect. So, I'm focused on waking people up, ground up, get people organized, and knowledgeable. And it's an impossible thing, but what the hell, right?
Yeah. Okay, you ever read the book Foundation Trilogy by Isaac Asimov?
Yeah.
No? What about you, Lisa?
I haven't, but I've heard of it. It's
okay.
Excellent.
I'm going to break down a couple of the ideas right there, okay? So the idea in this particular instance is there's a group of these statisticians, yeah, who call themselves psychohistorians, and they use statistical models, right, to predict human behavior for large quantities, right, for large masses, right, and then they can actually, right, by making adjustments, they can actually control the future. Yeah, that's the scientific story here, yeah? So the thing is that, right, there's an elite guard of people who have really trained themselves, right, to try to really shape society. You get what I mean? This elite, right, it's kind of disturbing, right, if you think about it, right, because it's almost like an overarching, like being controlled by a benevolent, right, by a benevolent guard. You know what I mean? That's helping humanity to achieve its full potential. And that's really technically what a leader is, isn't it? So the thing is that, right, we've talked about the moral reasons about which, and I love those answers because I believe in any true activist heart, a person who's truly about the people will give such an answer. That's the true heart of this for me, right? Believing that the leadership has to come, that's true. That's the reason for a lot of the problems. But, okay, if an elite guard is formed honestly, I think that it's going to be, right, I really understood the Nina Turner aspect that Owen said. I completely get that, yeah? And I think in reality that has a really good shot because first of all, right, we know that, being a black lady, there's going to be a strong pull for that vote, right, which is going to be, I think this is going to be good. She has a lot of credibility. She's awesome, yeah? But for me, right, I think, right, in reality, if it's who's it going to be, yeah, I think it's going to be Tulsi, and I'll tell you why. First of all, because I'm working on it, okay? I'm gonna try to make that happen. Number two, okay? The reason why is because when you look at Bernie's movement, just like a movie, right? You watch Rocky 1, you watch Rocky 2, right? Yeah, you watch Terminator 1, you watch Terminator 2. What's true about a good sequel? You gotta up the game. You gotta turn it up. You gotta have something that you add. So what is Nina, right? Nina does add some things, but Tulsi adds something to the game. A little bit more edge. A little bit, you know what I mean? That's what a sequel's gotta be. So who's gonna lead that movement? Now, honestly, right? Now you say, like, you know, honestly, I hope Bernie watches this video, and I hope he's thinking about naming a successor, and I hope he freaking does it, right? Yeah? It's time, bro. Even if he chooses someone else, I'm still working towards this angle. Yeah? All right? That's what I think. What about you guys?
I think that Tulsi, it sounds to me from what I've been seeing, is that she's going to make a run for governor of Hawaii. And if that happens and she wins, and there's a good shot that she could win, and she starts to implement in Hawaii a lot of the things that she wanted to do in other part, for the rest of the country, so I have to tell you, like, a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of things in Hawaii that are already like really great that are happening. Like, they have a great healthcare system. They have a great state healthcare system. They have a lot of things going for them. But the regenerative farming, the only thing that I worry about is that she won't, do certain things to get the military out of there.
So
like,
movement or not? Like, does she actually get the movement? What do you think?
I think I think that she could prove herself and get it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've seen the end of Tulsi.
So you don't want to predict. That's okay. That's fair. What about you, James? You want to call it? Call it, man. Go ahead. Do it.
There's a misunderstanding. Okay. With what I said before. Okay. With the Green Party and the People's Party. The Green Party, the People's Party, Bernie, Our Revolution, okay, none of them have a chance of pulling people that aren't already with them. Okay? My position is Tulsi needs to do her own thing so that she can pull to her, not let them pull her to them. Okay? I have it crystal clear in my head, but it's not about Tulsi. It's not about the leader and the president. I don't give a crap about 2024. I'm focused on 2022, making change happen before that.
I agree with you, but I think the people are too lazy to have a true democracy. That's what I'm afraid of.
Well, I'm not going to argue that people are hardworking in politics enough to do that. That's part of what I'm trying to do, is wake people up and get them motivated. But to answer your specific question, the Green Party, MPP, Our Revolution, and another one I'm missing, they're going to be far more likely to gravitate to an AOC and possibly a Nina Turner, but Nina Turner is not anywhere near as one, and they will be destroyed. They will be destroyed by anything on the right. They just don't have it together, and maybe one of those people could bring them together, but they will only cause more division. They're divided themselves. Okay. That movement might coalesce, okay, but that's not where we were. Okay. They're in a very different place. They're very authoritarian. They don't have an ounce of liberty in them. And they don't know that. And I grew up in the middle of America. I grew up in Ohio. I spent a third of my life on the East Coast. Okay. I can see, the People's Party flat out lost the support of labor. It's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. their recent debate, right? They only had with Rose McGowan. They only had about 309. They had 390. I think maybe almost 400 people watching. You know? I mean, that's it. You know? I mean, that's a real low number. That's a huge drop from the previous participation. And you'll notice that none of the big YouTubers are really promoting them like they used to. You get what I mean? It quieted down a lot.
And to really be blasphemous, okay, to be crazy blasphemous, Bernie was not socialist enough for the people who followed him. They're far more radical. Bernie misbranded himself. Even Cornel West said that Bernie's not a socialist.
Well, okay, it depends on. There's so many.
He's not.
There's so many definitions of socialism, though.
Right. But Bernie wasn't radical enough for the people that we're talking about.
For some
I'm not.
Yeah, he was disappointing to many people. Even Kyle Kalinske, right? Even people that say vote for Biden, they still found him disappointing. Yeah, that's a very.
Well, you know, Bernie.
Even Trump was disappointed, right?
Bernie, you know, did a lot of wonderful things, and kudos to him. You know, you're asking who's going to be. I mean, your question for this video was who's going to be the rightful heir to the throne of the Bernie movement.
Right,
okay.
Rightful heir, like as in terms of like who put the right things in place, right? Yeah. How did they prepare?
Honestly, correct answer. Correct answer.
Good amount.
Yeah, but she'd have to leave the Democratic Party, and that ain't going to happen. You know, now if AOC said, "Oh, you know what? Screw this Democratic Party stuff. I'm going to join the Green Party and run for president as a Green in 2024." She'd get creamed, but should really make a name for herself, and it would coalesce that faction. Okay, it would have to. Okay, she's not going to go to the People's Party, but they would love to have. See, this is the thing. These parties are looking for an individual to give them some panache. But what has to happen is the people have to rise up and select the person that they want. Okay, not beg them. Okay, and it's not going to come from a socialist perspective. It's going to come from a groundswell of inclusivity that drags everybody in, okay, to a place where there can be agreement. If you're going to be all divided, this side of the country and that side of the country, the Democrats and the Republicans are going to win, and you're just going to be looked at as a spoiler. You have to have a bigger agreement amongst the people on issues that everybody goes, yeah, I get that. And I don't see that. I mean, they can't even do that between labor and our revolution.
James, I think one of the things here is that we're not really recognizing is that usually when nothing happens, nothing happens. Usually when nothing happens or nothing changes, all we get is the same thing. This time, if nothing happens, if there is not change, guess what? Change will happen anyway. We will get these people who we think, oh, they're just going to continue on their things. And what's going to happen is we will get radical change anyway. Why? Because shit is falling apart. And they can't keep it together anymore with the placating and the spit and glue, that they think they can keep it together with. Everything is falling apart at the seams everywhere, from infrastructure to pensions to everything. And the thing is, things will have to change in order for us even just to manage it, just to manage the day-to-day. And that is going to, I agree very much with what Jimmy Dore says. If we don't actually vote for something that we want that can actually get the change that we wanted, what we get is something far worse than Trump, or something very radical. We are going to see some radical changes over the next 5 years. And I agree with Tulsi. It is going to end with war. And that's one of the reasons why I backed her. I believe we are barreling toward war. All of the chess pieces are being put in place. And, Tulsi tried to ring that bell. Tulsi tried to, like, make people really aware that this is actually what's happening. And people are people have their day-to-day problems that they want addressed. And that's great. And that's important because everybody's day-to-day problems are really horrible. But what we've got is something that will explode in our faces. And I'm very worried.
Now they're losing so much like leadership. They're losing so much credibility. You know what I mean? Other countries are starting to gain power, and the U.S. So all the U.S. has left is its military. We're no longer innovators in science, right? We don't have any moral high grounds. We're obviously there like profiting off of our relationships, off of other countries and predatory relationships. It's just a huge problem. Yeah. Now the thing is that one thing that I want my viewers to do right now, honestly, part of why I joined the MPT, and I said this in all my videos from the beginning. Yeah. Part of the reason why I joined the Yang Gang is because I believe both organizations could be a place where we could be a coalition could form, right? Yeah. And I've tried, and I'm still working on it. But right now, there's someone right here named James Roguski. What is that? ProgressiveParty.us. What's that website
Correct.
right there?
Correct. ProgressiveParty.us.
That's right now a real solid option right there, folks. I'm gonna tell you it's a real solid option. That website is beautiful. It's got a lot of real solid information. One article I really recommend is, right, what's that one you compare, like, what is a progressive, right? What's that title exactly?
Well, the starting point is people use words and they don't know what the words mean. And step number one is to take back the definition of what a progressive is. And nobody knows. And I've spoken to friends, and they don't have any connection to the fact that progressive comes from Teddy Roosevelt back in the more than 100 years ago, and what they were dealing with then is so very similar to what we're dealing with now. Okay, they were dealing with huge corporations that were abusing the populace. And the income inequality arguably was worse because, people who had it bad then really had it bad. Okay. And progressivism, by definition, is in opposition to big business and big government. And that's what people don't understand. You're not going to solve the problem by letting government work hand in hand with business. And it's a two-sided thing. So
a little bit of perspective on that, right? The reason why is because when bureaucracies form and the status quo gets hardened around, right? Because the certain people and certain ideas have to be locked in, that prevents innovation. It prevents new ideas from taking hold that change society for the better. Copernicus, come on, man. We know that this is a huge problem, and they're stepping all over our freedoms. And honestly, I'm going to call right now for one piece of action right now. Right now, we see that the government, there's something called the Patriot Act, where they can look at all our stuff, right? Yeah? It's our turn. What about the Citizen Patriot Act? I want to see every single email from every single senator. I paid for that shit. I have the right to everything. Their phone mail, everything, right? They want to see all my stuff. Let's see your stuff. Let's do this.
Put in your FOIA request and wait for 2 years, and yeah, that's exactly the thing. Yeah. So
one more thing that I love about you is your focus on locals. Yeah, you'll watch other interviews that I do with like Owen Charles, with Brendan Carpenter. Yeah, they talk about local work. I'm sorry, James, take it away. But I want you to just, for my viewers, I want you to notice the similarities between people that have years in the game, experience at higher levels, right? Yeah. In the Bernie movement, you have a lot of respect. One West Coast knows, straight up. You know what I mean? Straight up. What up? This is James Bruski in the house.
Let me pick a word that you like to use because it's what you're all about. Okay, coalition. Right. The idea that I'm putting forth is that the battle that we're fighting is we, the people, have to unify against corporations and government bureaucracy. And there's parties all over the country, many of which you may or may not be aware of. Okay, people know the Green and the Libertarian and all that sort of stuff. But as a starting point, we're all thinking in a manner that I think is a little bit off. Okay, if a couple of Green Party members win in Connecticut and an independent wins in Alaska, and a United Party candidate wins in Colorado, and a People's Party candidate wins in Virginia, and progressive people win throughout. It's a coalition of people against the duopoly. And people are not thinking about it that way. They're thinking, oh, we just want to have, another big party where we can be the boss and we can control everything. And it's just going to, I've already seen parties, try to do that. And they're already fighting about money, and they're fighting about who's in power and how, I'll go on for days with you about what's going on in the People's Party. It's supposed to be democratically run, but what is it now, 110 days without an election to see if they can change the platform for Julian Assange? Maybe it's 109, I forget, 111, 110, what is it? Okay. And so let go of your turf, let go of your pride, let go of your ego, and organize and coalesce. And if somebody's doing something great in Connecticut, like it sounds Owen's, working on, hey, how can we work together? What can we do? Oh, you're doing something in Las Vegas. Hey, how can we help you? You're doing something here. Oh, wait a minute. We're not going to be dealing with trying to work inside the Democratic Party, because that's just stupid. Okay. Well, what about organized labor? They would like to start their own party.
Yeah,
great.
LCIS, right? The labor community. We're going to be talking about. I want you in on that. Yeah.
That'd be wonderful. I wasn't privy to the conversations of whatever happened between them and the People's Party, but it certainly sounds like somebody didn't listen to somebody else, and they didn't want to coalesce and work together. They wanted all the glory. And
let's stop talking about them. They're whack.
But whether it's them or the Green Party, the whole point is identify the big concepts that you can agree upon, okay, and work. That's what progressive is. Let's make some progress where we agree, and we can agree to disagree on this, that, and the other, okay? But let's, hey, we all agree on this. Why isn't it getting done? Make it happen.
I love it, man. James, you always have a lot of wisdom. You always bring a lot of truth to the channel. And it's always a freaking pleasure, man. It's an honor to have you on, man. Lisa's out at the moment, yeah. So as in terms of we talk about the ethical reasons, right? Yeah. The ethical reasons why people might want to select like a certain candidate, right? Nina Turner probably came as the most likely candidate. I would actually, I said Tulsi. I have a lot of bravado. Yeah, we'll see where that goes. What else? Anything else? Is there anything else in the discussion as in terms of,
well, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it from this perspective. Okay.
The Sharks thing was interesting.
I don't care at all at this point about who the leader is. Okay. The people need to lead, and they have to make the politicians follow their lead. Everybody's got it backwards. Oh, we're going to do whatever, AOC or Nina Turner or Tulsi Gabbard or Bernie Sanders. No, the people have to get up off their ass and lead and choose people locally, that are going to run for Congress and represent you outside of the duopoly, whether it's a Green member or a Libertarian or a United Party or a People's Party or whatever it is. And then you actually have the power. And the politicians have to listen to you. And the choosing of a leader to run for president in 2024, that's not my concern.
I'm interested in your predictions on who's going to win.
2020? 2020?
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to know the answer for quite some time. I think it's designed to be dragged out. And you were talking, actually, Lisa, you were talking about ending in war. And until you kept talking further, I thought you meant civil war. Because I think that's what this is all designed to do. It's all designed to pit us against each other. there may be a foreign war, but there's just as likely to be a civil war.
No, honestly, I think it's going to be Trump.
I think it's going to be Trump too.
Yeah.
I think Trump is going to eke by. He's going to eke. I think he'll get it through the skin of his teeth, and I think that he'll, kind of similar to what he did last time. I think I was watching something, and they said, if you don't count California and New York, Trump won the popular vote.
Mm-hmm.
So, considering that California is blue and New York is too, and if you take those out of the equation, it's a numbers game for him. And I think that, he had a very strategic, he had a very well-run strategic, campaign, and can't fault him for that. I think he's just going to do the same thing. He could lose Wisconsin. He could lose Michigan. If he gains Minnesota, and he might. I hear he's on the ground everywhere in Minnesota. I hear they are literally drowning the farmers in money. They're giving the farmers so much money. If they get the farm vote, that's it.
Look, I get all the emails. They give 8 times donations. I'm on all the mailing lists, so I know what they're marketing and who, right? If I donate, they're going to get matched 8 times, yeah? Plus, if you think about it, I was in Newburgh before this, right? Newburgh is heavily Trump, yeah? There's a lot of, like small town communities, yeah, that I've been through. I've been traveling a little bit, you know what I mean? Yo, everybody for Trump, for real. The media says something if they count those ballots right, you know what I mean? Because honestly, I don't believe in ballots for a second. Even at my workplace in New York City, more than half of these for Trump.
If you want to talk about something interesting as well, the census is this year. It's running late because of COVID, so things are going to be delayed. Okay, but they do estimates. The Census Bureau does estimates every year. They give you a rough idea of what the population is, and at the very least, Texas is supposed to gain 3 congressional seats. Okay, Florida is supposed to gain 2. California is supposed to lose 1 for the first time ever. Rhode Island is supposed to lose 1 for the first time since the founding of the nation. Okay, Montana is supposed.
What also can happen, James, is that there's a shift because so many people are moving out of Los Angeles County because it's so expensive here, and they're moving into San Bernardino and in Riverside, and that's Trump territory. Believe it or not, people think that there's no Trump territory in California. Untrue.
And so what's going to happen in 2022 and then in 2024 for the presidency is there's probably going to be at least a shift of 10 where certain states lose and certain states win, but everything is going to get redrawn. And I want to have people on the ground when the new districts pop up, because in California, if California loses a district, okay, all 53 districts have to be redrawn to be 52 districts, okay? And so one of the incumbents is out. We're going to have to battle, another incumbent. And in 10 districts in Texas and Florida and elsewhere, there's going to be an extra district. So it's a wide open race with no incumbent.
Here's one problem that I realized, you know what I mean? So the thing is that I told you I've been working a bunch of campaigns, right? Yeah? And the thing is that some of the people who are running for these seats, right, like they have the right positions on stuff, but they are so green. They have no idea what they're doing. They've never really run anything. They don't really understand, right? They just kind of got excited, right? They're usually like well paid, right? Oh, I think it would be cool to run for this position, you know what I mean? They haven't really grappled, right, with having to, they've never been on welfare. They've never, right, they don't understand how that system works or where it's really broken. They just know what they've heard about. You get what I mean? Yeah? Hey. So the thing is that these candidates, right, that we want to support, right, that are local, we need to help develop people that are maybe like more ground level, people that are normally not involved, and reach out to those communities and turn them on.
It's tough finding good people. That's the issue of it. But what I'm looking at is this is a disappointment with Tulsi's campaign. Tulsi, if you ever watch this, sorry, but here comes some truth.
Oh damn, we could do another episode on why Tulsi lost. Oh my god.
No.
It's supposed to happen with me and Lisa. It could happen.
I know.
That's a whole other story. No, it's like,
oh my god.
there was,
all right.
This is how we learn.
Hey, holy, let's not
there
go.
was,
Holy, we almost lit it on fire. All right, go ahead.
there was no permanence. There was no thought of a movement. Okay, Bernie, in 2016, much of it fell apart. Yeah, he started Our Revolution, but then the Draft Bernie movement turned into the Movement for a People's Party, and a lot of people were just fed up. That splintered. Okay, now Bernie's movement is splintered even more, and as you put it, Lisa, I mean, it's just shards all over the place. Okay, well, maybe those are seeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe those are seeds, and maybe those people, and so what, Ed, you know how hard this is. I'm reaching out to people saying, look, after this election is over, which might not be until January, okay, and but okay, let's look to the future and organize something that's more permanent, because it's not based on a candidate who closes down shop when the candidacy is over, and all of the people are like, well, now what do we do? Well, it's like, if you had actually organized from the ground up at the beginning, talk to people in Bernie's campaign, okay? When they opened up offices, all of the grassroots people got booted, and all of the top-down people came in, and it just pissed everybody off. And so, my biggest fear, I hope it doesn't come true, okay? I get my fingers crossed. My biggest fear about the election is that Biden wins, but is actually taken out by scandal before he's inaugurated, and we get President Harris. That's my biggest fear. I think that's a possibility.
That's what it's there for. That's exactly why he's there.
Yeah. But it could actually happen before Inauguration Day. It's one of the amendments. If he cannot fulfill his duties because of all this, Hunter Biden, China money, corruption stuff, he could win and never take office.
Wow.
And I forget if it's the 23rd, 24th Amendment, which one it is.
25th, I think, right? The 25th.
I got to go look again. I'm pretty sure it's not. That's a slightly different one, but it could be. But forgetting about trying to hypothesize what's going to happen, I can tell you what will continue to happen until it changes.
It's the 25th.
Okay. Until there's actually a people's organization that can bring in farmers from Wisconsin, like you were talking about, and factory workers in Minnesota and Ohio, and people in the fracking industry in Pennsylvania, and have them come in and agree to work together. We'll go from one savior, Barack Obama, didn't save anything, didn't fix anything really. And so if we put all our hopes on a candidate and fail year after year after year to organize from the ground up, we will continue to fail. That's the thing that needs to change. That's the thing that everybody keeps doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. And that's the insanity, is you keep hoping for the next savior. I think the 2024 savior, she's going to just be of age, is AOC. And that segment that she appeals to will treat her like a goddess and hope that she's going to save them, and they'll just go down to an astonishing defeat.
Yeah, I see that all over the place. It's really sad, yeah? But I want everybody to really pay attention to what honestly, I think that the Tulsi community has a lot of grizzlies out there, like you and me, you know what I mean? Like Lisa, like Owen over there, people that have years in the game, right? A lot more strength than like little cats. That's why we're more aware of the corruption. A lot of the people in the gang, I love them to death. They are not aware of the corruption yet. You know what I mean? They have not been around it like us for 20 years. You know what I mean? Like dealing with that. So they're gonna learn. Yeah, they're already learning. Yeah, they're already. But you know, they got a very powerful organization, and I think that they could be very helpful with to remove this House of Representatives thing. Yeah. There may be some organizations that are working on that, but I will try to put in contact with some key people. That guy Brendan.
Yeah, if you have somebody there's
Brendan Carpenter coming into. I think he's going to LA. You should talk.
There's a conversation about universal basic income ideas that I'd love to have with anybody in the Yang Gang who cares to have such a conversation. Yeah. You know what? Let me.
I want to call the Tulsi community right now us grizzled people, right? We have the vision. We understand that it's got to be a people, a true people. That's been my line too, right? Yeah. I don't care in MPP. I don't care who you are. It's going to be a true people's party. This is the true desire of many from the Tulsi community. Work with us to make it happen. Yeah. We are the. Who else is out there working on the Tulsi? It's us. We are it. You know what I mean? Contact us. We got to make it happen. Who else is doing this? Oh my God, we need more people out there. There's also Power Anthem Network. I'm going to link you guys up. Okay. You guys got
let me bring up one more thing, and then maybe we should wrap it up. I think we've been here for probably an hour.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I'm working on, and it's pretty far along. Progressives are supposed to be about ideas, okay? I can so out UBI the Yang Gang, okay, with ideas to do UBI better than what Andrew Yang proposed, okay? The question that I put out to people who say they're progressive, okay, how do you out Republican the Republicans? How do you take their ideas, but bring them into your mind and make them better so that other people like it? How do you out Tulsi? How do you out Bernie? How do you out Green the Greens? Because quite frankly, I've read Howie Hawkins's Green New Deal. I'd like to talk to somebody about that because
Like what? Like what? Give us an example. Like what? Give us an example. Yeah, give us an example. What you mean?
I'd like to not be critical of it, okay? But I actually read it. Now I know nobody else has, but that's me. That's how I am. I've read the Green Party platform. I've read Howie Hawkins's Green New Deal proposal. I've read Joe Biden's Build Back Better. Okay.
I didn't know he had a platform.
I've read.
I have to go look at it.
He's kind of like Elizabeth Warren. He's got a plan. I got a plan for this.
Yeah, but she really does have a plan. He doesn't have anything.
No, he does. I've read Donald Trump's thing, and you could put it on a one-sheeter. Okay, and if you can't get across in one sheet what you're going to do for people, does anybody know what Howie Hawkins's Green New Deal really wants to do? Does anybody know what Build Back Better means? Okay. With Trump, you got a one-sheeter on his website, but you don't need it because he just tells you, and you get it because I hate to say it, but it's dumbed down, and that's good marketing. You walk out of there, fired up if you believe what he's telling you. And I mean, Joe Biden's get-togethers with the circles and the stars, even if you were there and you were gung-ho, right? Well, what is it you're going to, Joe, I don't understand what kind of health care I'm going to get. It just doesn't come across clear.
I want to mention this, that something that my boy Rich Idris said, that honestly I'm always impressed by that guy. He's obviously super intelligent. He's from California too. So what he said was that one thing that he noticed is that some people think that, right, that our society is going too far left with this over censorship and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
That's not left. That's not left.
Exactly. That's what he was getting at. That's what he was getting at, right? But he says, right, even though supposedly there's all this outrage about social injustice, right? Yeah. If you look economically, it's been a hard shift to the right. Yeah. All the money and resources are going in one direction. Yeah. That's really a very strong right-wing turn. So I believe, right, that we're being sold, right, yeah, that the left is winning, when really, right, it's another thing. So there's this false narrative, right? Remember before I was talking about the two narratives will play out, yeah? So exactly what you're saying, right, there will be, right, there's what you're going to actually do, but then there's how they're going to portray it. It'll be completely different.
Well, then there's the whole discussion of the media, which, that's just, again, we have to realize that the media is our enemy. We have to share this kind of information person to person. One of the things that
You will be a strong controller as in terms of who gets to inherit the Burnings movement. What do you think about that? I think that PYT pushes people in one direction, right? You take a look at them, right? MPP had a really good, strong hold of the media. They don't have a good hold on labor, right? But they had a nice little, control of the media, right? But it seems like it might be.
Well, do you know who the biggest donor is?
If Nina Turner is in there, I think they will stack up again. But
do you know who the?
No, who is?
Do you know who the biggest donor to the People's Party is?
No. Who that?
Jimmy Dore's wife, Steph Zamorano.
Okay. Wow.
Wait, what?
He's the biggest donor to MPP? Well,
Yep.
I could see that.
Yeah. So they're putting their money where their mouth is. Okay. But even that, they're set up as their organization actually isn't even called People's Party. It's a movement for no. It's their legal organization is a 527 corporation. It's called People for Working Democracy. It's set up as a 501c4, which is a dark money organization. Now, they're not getting big money to hide, okay? But do you see any transparency, Ed, with what you've been looking at? Who decides how to spend the money that they're spending?
It's not the people. I can tell you that for sure.
They spent 5% of the money that came in to take in the money. That they paid 5% in credit card.
That's a pass. They got that off of Nick Bonner's Celebrity. You know what I mean? But we can move in and we can make this a true coalition party. That's my plan. Honestly, Progressive Party is a great place for people to meet, right? Yeah. Actually, make sure let's share all of our information, right? Yeah. I just started seeing Lisa on Twitter. Yeah. What's up? Yeah, holla. You know what I mean? Let's share our contact. So James, right? I told you about the progressiveparty.us. Don't you have also complete guide to health.com or something? Right? What other platforms can people follow you?
Well, we haven't even talked about COVID. But if you go to progressiveparty.us,
okay.
And my number is 310-619-3055, progressiveparty.us,
okay.
And 310-619-3055. When the phone rings, pick it up.
Yeah, we may have another episode where I cover his COVID stuff. Yeah, complete guide to health. You said, right?
The complete guide to health.com. Give me a minute. Pretty much everything you think you know about the treatment of COVID has been hidden from you. In countries around the world, there are therapeutics that are being given to people both preventively and as soon as they come down with any symptoms. And that's why China ended their pandemic back in April. They knew what to do and they did it, but there isn't any money for pharmaceutical companies in the treatments that they gave. And the media will not tell the American people the truth about what other countries around the world are doing. It's all documented on my website. It's a dangerous disease. It can kill you, but it won't kill you if you know of a doctor who knows how to treat it and will do what works rather than what the powers that be demand that they don't do those things. So the complete guide to health.com, if you take the time to learn, it'll just absolutely freaking blow your mind. And it should piss you off because crimes against humanity are being committed in a large way. And it's not Trump's fault. It's the medical establishment's fault. And everybody thinks, oh, everybody's got Trump derangement syndrome. And yeah, he's messed in the head in a lot of ways. Okay. But it's the medical establishment's desire to maintain profits and cause disease that they can then charge lots of money for. And the media inclusion with them is not telling people what they did in China, what they've done around the world. You don't have to die. You don't have to get it. And the test that they stick up your nose tests exposure, not infection.
You're right. There's a CEO whose job it literally is, that's his literal job, is to look at this pandemic and say, how can my corporation maximize their profits? That's his job. And if he doesn't deliver, he's out the door, and he's getting paid real good. Yeah,
and those corporations buy advertising on mainstream media, so you're not allowed to know what you can know if you go to thecompleteguidetohealth.com.
All right, very cool. Lisa, how can people follow you? Like, what's your you still producing content? I know you got that academics thing. You can talk about whatever you want. What's
I'm very worried for Los Angeles, and I am trying now to get involved with different people and basically start systems that make my community more anti-fragile. So one of the things that I have started is an educational platform called Hyperion Academics, and it is basically an online educational platform. I don't want to call it an online school, but it is something where kids can go on and they get an education that takes them from step to step. And unlike other platforms like Khan Academy or whatever, it's for unmotivated students, which most students are. They're not, you have to be kind of motivated to use Khan Academy, whereas most students kind of need to be motivated, and that's basically what we are designing our platform to be. It's very game-like, it's very interactive, it's very fun to watch and interact with, and it's really cool, and kids like it. Right now, we're putting together within the next 5 days a 20-lesson packet for first grade, and soon after that, a 20-lesson packet for kindergarten to beta test and get a lot of feedback. And then hopefully by the end of November, we will have those grades available for kids to actually.
I want to actually mention that, yeah? I don't know if this happened for your kids, but a lot of kids that I'm in contact with, this is what happens, right? Their school got cut by so much because usually their school from 8 to 30, but they only do their school for a couple hours now because learning online is so much more efficient. Yeah? Hyperion Academics, right? Yeah? Honestly, it's probably a more just look at the reality of what's going on in your situation, right? Learning online is more efficient, number one. Number two, also, right? Yeah, Lisa's awesome. Yeah, anyways, yeah. So check out Hyperion Academics word out there. We'll put the link in the description and all of that. Yeah. Is there any other?
It's fun and interesting. Kids really like it. Yeah. They love it. We showed it to a bunch of Vue.js people, just recently, just a few hours earlier. And they were like, ooh, wow. One guy who worked for EA, Electronic Arts, yeah. It's like a big game making company out here in LA. And he worked for that, and he was like, wow, this looks great. So we're really excited about it. The other thing that we're trying to do is get a collective of basically Black farmers together, just basically have people starting to farm and get a collective together where we can start exchanging food, exchanging kind of growing practices. And one of the things that I've been wanting to start for years and years is something that I call herd share, where we basically get small livestock and we share it. So we have we have maybe a goat or a sheep, there's some sheep on our property, and we have them for a month. And then they go to another property for a month, and then another property for a month. And so we're able to have small livestock and rotate it around so that there are many families who can share this livestock and kind of get the benefit from that.
Amazing. Goats can climb the ridiculous. vehicles, like you'll see them climb the most ridiculous things. I've seen them.
And we have fires out here. You know, we have fires out here, bad ones.
Yeah.
You know,
You
we have fires out here. Yeah. So clearing property, just to have them clearing property and eating brush, and then going from place to place. That would have to change laws. We would have to change the ordinances about how I like. But I'm you know, I want
some crazy people.
So.
If I may, are you aware of GoGalora.com?
No, I'm not.
Check it out. It's Go Galora. It's a local grower trade barter system. Go Galora, GoGalora.com. My girlfriend and I have, I guess technically we're growers because we've had a really good crop of persimmon. We had a really good crop of passion fruit. We eat out of the yard as much as possible, and Go Galora's it's an LA based basically, you know, you've got too much and somebody else has got too much of something else, so why let it all go to waste? I don't think they do animals.
We have a food spot that we do on the east side once a month. And then everybody kind of brings like whatever they have, kind of backpack fruit or like their stuff. Yay! Yeah. And we all get together, and then we put our stuff out. And then we take a little bit. We do a little bit, and then take a little bit more. And then the third word, take as much as you want. But because of COVID, we didn't do that. So what we're doing now is we're doing something like an adult trick or treat, where we put things. We have a list of what we have, and we put them out, and then we drive around people's houses for the stuff we have. We pick it up. So that's what we've been doing the last few months. It's been awesome.
Stop recording. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. All right, thanks, guys.